The QKLG promotes children's language capabilities, including vocabulary. In the learning and development area of communicating, the significant learnings includes expands vocabulary. The research says that the number of words that the children have, and also the range of words, that means the total diversity of the words that they have, really impacts on their later literacy success. Some vocabulary knowledge develops incidentally. Other word knowledge requires intentional teaching.
Darker than this one, and darker than this one. The darkest.
Children can benefit when teachers and educators engage in language conversations, which includes really rich language experiences. When thinking about planning vocabulary, teachers and educators can kind of introduce everyday words like play, dog, boy, mum, car. Now these are words that children would already know, but they're really important to intentionally teach for children who are English language learners.
Vashti thought for a moment, well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name.
So when children are exposed to lots of words in context, it helps them develop a broader vocabulary. And that's really important, say, for when teachers and educators are reading stories to children. And by reading stories to children, you're also developing and broadening their vocabularies as well. So teachers and educators can think about introducing words to children that are ones that they perhaps find in children's literature, because children's literature contains a different type of grammar, a different type of language to what they'd use in everyday conversation. So the words, for example, that you'd want to think about preparing a child-friendly definition for before the reading are words like magnified or grasped or quivering or expensive, fierce, magnificent or smashed. Drama is another way of providing definitions for children. So for example, if you've got the word prancing, you might actually demonstrate through drama by galloping and showing them what prancing looks like.
And that says mix. What are we mixing this week?
Also, what I think is really important is actually asking the children to come up with their own definitions as well.
What does it mean if you're glued to a chair?
You can't get up.
Yeah, it's like you're stuck with glue, you're stuck on the chair.
Another way that teachers and educators can support children in building their vocabulary is through introducing books around the same topic. For example, if the children have got an interest in space, you would read books maybe about the planets, a book on satellites, or a book on astronauts, or a book on meteorites. Teachers and educators can help children in understanding and deepening the meaning of new words that they're learning through play. One example, if you're going on a nature walk, you'd know that you might be coming across lizards and leaves, so you'd actually already pre-plan that definition. Say for a lizard, a reptilian, and leaves, you might introduce the word foliage.
Bigger. Oh, is that your biggest?
Children can be supported to understand what words mean through a range of play-based language experiences. But these experiences need to be relevant to the children and also your context that you're working in. When building everyday language, for example, describing shapes, you could introduce language such as point, side, face, angle.
They do. They have 4 points on them. They also have how many?
I think what's really interesting is what I would call interesting words. One of them would be, say, symmetrical. So first of all, you'd want to provide a child-friendly definition for the word symmetrical. What you could do is maybe perhaps have the shape of a circle there, have a line drawn down the middle, and explain to the children that that's symmetrical, that both sides are the same. Then next what you would do is actually use the word symmetrical in context. By teachers and educators incorporating visuals, photographs, gestures and also repetition, all children have the opportunity to develop vocabulary. It's really important for teachers and educators to focus in on intentionally teaching vocabulary, because when they're actually really focused in on thinking about the words that they're using with children, so helping them to develop a wide range of words as well as the number of words, really supports children in developing a wider vocabulary, which leads to lifelong literacy success.